Okay, why don't we go ahead and get started on this third and final course. My name is Stuart Towns, and I'm also an instructor at King Mongkut University of Technology, Thonburi. You can see my background of our lovely campus. We've been doing the Wikipedia course for 5 or 6 years now. Originally, it was for a group of international students who had very good English, and this was a way for them to teach them about doing research and writing academic writing. But the last couple of years, we've expanded to teaching undergraduate students, our undergraduate engineering students at King Mongkut, as the third course in the series, right? So we have the hobby course, which is the first course in the series, then the review course, which Steve just discussed as course number 2, and then this one is the third one, the Wikipedia course. So I'd like to start off, if we were all in the room together, face to face, person to person, I would ask you to turn to your friend and to discuss a little bit about Wikipedia. So I think we all know what Wikipedia is. Hopefully you've all used Wikipedia. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of Wikipedia? Wikipedia is of course a global website. The biggest part of Wikipedia is in English, but there's also Wikipedia websites for many different languages. There's a Thai Wikipedia, a Chinese Wikipedia, Russian Wikipedia. There's all kinds of different Wikipedias. I'd like to ask maybe if we take a couple minutes, get a little bit of interactivity here. Does everybody here use Wikipedia? Why do you use it? How often do you use it? Is it useful for you? Can a few of you maybe type a few things into the chat, and let's see what you think about Wikipedia for your own personal use. So people are saying it's a source of information, right? Very dynamic. Right. I think we all use Wikipedia a lot just because it's the first result when you search on Google many times, right? Google search uses Wikipedia a lot because it is a somewhat trustworthy site, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Okay, great. Now my question is do you think it's a good resource for our students? Do you tell your English language students that they should use Wikipedia? Yes. Okay. Erica says that the language is sometimes beyond their understanding. That's true. Sometimes the Wikipedia can get a little bit academic. There's also, I don't know if you're familiar, there's also a simple Wikipedia website, which is supposed to be able to use English that's a little bit less advanced. So maybe in the future, you could tell your students, I think the URL is something like simple.wikipedia.org or something. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Richard. Put it in the chat, simple Wikipedia. And so it's a lot of course, it's not as big as the main Wikipedia website, but they do have a lot of articles, and that might be useful for your students. And yeah, Anna makes a great point that it's a good place to start, but we want to confirm if it's true or not. Why is that? It's because why is it somewhat trustworthy? It's a good source, but maybe we can't trust it 100%. Well, because everybody can edit Wikipedia. I can edit Wikipedia. You can edit Wikipedia. Right, exactly. That's what Juanisa just said. Anybody can read and write Wikipedia articles. And so, right, exactly, as people are talking about in the chat. So for the next 30 minutes or so, I want to explain to you how we use Wikipedia in our English classes, and I'll try to convince you that it's a really great resource for our English language students. And hopefully you'll be convinced by the end of the 30 minutes. So the name of the class, actually the official name of this class, is Academic Reading and Writing in International Context. So what does this mean? Of course, the international context is Wikipedia. Wikipedia is an international site, available all over the world through the internet. And in this class, students actually write a Wikipedia article, or as Thomas just said, edit a Wikipedia article. And we'll talk more about editing in just a minute. So they get a chance to write in English for an international context, for an international audience. They also have to do some reading, because for Wikipedia articles, they need to be researched. We need to have sources. We need to have preferably academic sources, books, journals, these kinds of things to back up what we say on the Wikipedia article. So students will have to read, to do research before they write. And this is, of course, academic language, right? Wikipedia is an encyclopedia written in an academic style, which means it's not going to be good if you're teaching children. Wikipedia is going to be way too advanced. But for our college students, they seem to do pretty well with it, even though it's an academic style. And we teach them a little bit about what that means. What do we mean by fact-based academic style? So the course actually fits the title very well. It really is an academic reading and writing in international context. Usually a class like this will have a textbook, and the students will read boring stories about whatever, answer questions, multiple choice questions, do grammar exercises, but we take a totally different approach in this class by interacting with real people around the world through Wikipedia. And as I said, they've done a great job. When we first started the class, it was kind of like, it was a pilot. We wanted to see, is it going to be possible? But actually the students have done a great job, and over the 5 years that we've done it, students have written articles that still can be found on Wikipedia today. This is an example from a Burmese student that we had. He wrote about the Pegu Club, which is a building, historic building in Yangon, Myanmar, from the time of the British colonization, built by the British as kind of like a social club. And so he created this page for the Pegu Club building, and added the photos and all those kinds of things, which is a really nice article. So today we've been talking about the languaging curriculum, and this is the third class in our series. And to reuse the slide that Ong and Steve have both used, what do we mean by languaging? We mean learning to strategically make use of available tools and resources to successfully do things in English for real-world purposes. Now, we've said this many times today, so hopefully everybody has a good understanding of what we mean here. Learning to strategically make use of available tools and resources to successfully do things in English for real-world purposes. So, what does this mean for the Wikipedia course? What do we mean by strategies? Well, the strategies that we use in this course are research skills, process writing, genre analysis. And we'll talk about some of the more details about these things soon. But basically, since the students are researching, they're doing research, we talk about how to do research, how to find sources, how to take notes, how to keep track of citations. We go through the process writing step by step. How do we write the report? What is the order of things that we do to do research? And we also use a genre analysis. We want to learn from the model Richard talked about this in the first hour about how we want to, and even native English speakers like myself, I can also learn from the model if I'm writing in a new genre, a genre that I don't know about. Available tools and resources. What do we use in this course? We use Wikipedia, of course, internet websites, and yes, even old-fashioned real physical libraries. We encourage the students to use the library at the university, to use libraries at other universities in Bangkok. Chulalongkorn University has a great library that we encourage students to use. They can look up things online and can get information from other libraries also. We also use peer feedback, teacher feedback, and we use a website called Grammarly, which I'll talk about more in a minute. I don't know if any of you have ever used this website, Grammarly, but it's basically a website that will give you feedback on your writing. And we want to do all this in order for the students to be successful using English for a real-world purpose. So, of course, the purpose here is increasing the students' knowledge about a topic that's interesting for them and sharing the knowledge with the entire world. So let's talk about a few of these things. I'll give you a little bit more details about what I mean about process writing and genre analysis and some of the tools that we used, especially Grammarly, which some of you may not be familiar with. Process writing approach. So what do I mean for this? What I mean is that if you want to write a research paper or a research report, there are certain steps that you should take. And if you do these steps in order, it'll make your writing experience much easier, right? And so I'm sure most of you are familiar with this idea. First, you have to choose a topic. Then you should analyze the genre, the text type. You should know what style of writing, how things should be organized, how things should be formatted. You go out, you do the research, you find reputable sources of information. Now, not everything on the internet is reputable. We want to have good sources, whether they're books or journal articles or government websites or university websites. We want to then take notes from the sources, track citations. And some of our students have never done this before, so we teach them how to do that. Create an outline. Once you have some notes, you can organize the notes into an outline, keeping in mind the audience and the purpose of the report. Write the first draft. Iteratively improve the draft based on feedback. Submit the final draft, and then reflect on your experiences. So how do we do this in the class? Well, in our Wikipedia course, we have handouts for this first part of the class. Originally, before COVID, we were in the classroom and we had worksheets to help the students choose topics, to take notes, to track citations, things like that. And then we moved to the Wikipedia website itself to do the actual writing. Now, I don't know if you're familiar, but Wikipedia has a space they call the sandbox. And every user, once you log in to Wikipedia, you have a sandbox that you can use to edit and to write a first draft. And we use that. So just to show you what that looks like, the sandbox is, here's an example. This is my own sandbox, my username SG Towns. And I was just showing the students here how to write a Wikipedia article. This is what you see is what you get interface. You just type it in. You can use formatting to create the Wikipedia page itself. It's actually pretty easy to do once you do it a couple of times. It's pretty easy to add references. And there's all kinds of, for example, this cite button up here will help you to create the references. This link button will help you create links. We can format the text using these buttons here. So this is the sandbox that all the students use on the Wikipedia website itself to write their first draft, to organize their ideas, to make improvements iteratively as we go through the second half of the class. So yeah, I should say that this process writing approach, this is basically the whole class. We go through this, we spend a couple of weeks on some of these, but the course is 15 weeks, and we go through these 9 steps to create a great Wikipedia article, and then some time at the end to reflect on our experiences. So let's talk about the Wikipedia genre a little bit. What do I mean by the Wikipedia genre? If I put this screenshot of a website here on the right side, I think everybody knows exactly that this is it's very obvious that this is a Wikipedia web page, right? This is an article from Wikipedia. It just happens to be the one from our university. And so we get the students to work together to discuss about, what is it that makes this a Wikipedia page? And you can look at this yourself. You can think to yourself, what makes a Wikipedia page a Wikipedia page? There's things like layout. There's things like format, academic style, writing style. So we go through this and we let students explore this and to talk about it and to figure out what are the things that we always find on Wikipedia websites, like the title, the topic of the paper. Every Wikipedia website, Wikipedia page starts with a lead article, lead paragraph that is supposed to be a summary of the entire article. Next, we have a table of contents, and then we get into the main body of the paper, right? On the right-hand side, we can sometimes, if it's a location, we can find some coordinates. We have a sidebar that has a lot of details, kind of a bullet point list of the details about the topic. And these are based on the topic itself, right? So this is a sidebar for universities. So we have motto, type, established, president, address, campus, colors, mascot, right? For other types, maybe it's a historic building or historic person, or maybe it's a scientific theory, or maybe it's a product, maybe it's a game. So each one of these has its own sidebar, that its own kinds of information that might go in a sidebar. Inside the sidebar, we have links. Actually, inside the article, we have links. Every time we see a blue font, that tells us that links to a Wikipedia, another Wikipedia page. If we see the red font, like here, this means that thing, that topic, that person does not have a Wikipedia page. So, for example, the president of our university, they list his name, but he does not have a Wikipedia page. And so it's under red font. But the blue font ones all are links to Wikipedia pages. We can zoom in even more and talk about the functionality of the website. Searching, as we've said already, Wikipedia can be edited by anyone, and this is where you do the editing by clicking the edit button. It's real easy. You go to a page, click that edit button, and you can change anything on the website. Now, we have there are a lot of Wikipedia editors that kind of keep an eye on things to make sure that pages, if they get vandalized, if people come in and delete everything, or they mess up the page, it can be put back to a previous version pretty easily. There's also this issue of talking or discussing what should be on the page. There's always a back channel on every Wikipedia page of people, the Wikipedia editors, discussing what should the organization be? What should the content be? Is this fact true? Does this have reputable sources? Something like that. They talk. There's always a back channel communication on every wiki page, and you can go and click on the talk button to see what people are saying about the topic in the background. We have citations, of course. And then for those topics from other countries, we have translations into the native language, and we have transliterations into a Roman script. And so these are things that students can include on their own pages if they're writing about something from their own country. So one of the big parts of this class, perhaps one of the most difficult parts of the class, is actually just getting started on choosing a topic. So obviously Wikipedia has tens, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of articles. And so finding a topic can be a little bit difficult. If we ask a student, what topic would you like to write on? Chances are whatever they say is going to already have a very big Wikipedia page to it. But there are a lot of other ways that we can do, and we share this with the students. There are lists on Wikipedia that list articles that people have requested in the past. They give you some ideas about things to write about. There are lists of articles that are missing, that people think that should be added, that are not there. And as one person said in the chat, we can also edit existing pages. And there are lots of pages that are called stubs. Stubs are pages that have been started, but don't have a lot of information yet. Maybe it's just one short paragraph, or maybe it's just a couple of sentences. Students for the class can find these pages and can add to it, can do some research, and can add information. And there's even stub pages based per country or per topic. If you want to, there's a page for stubs in architecture, stubs of history, stubs of Thailand, stubs from China, stubs from France. And that always gives you lots of interesting ideas. And these are pretty big topics, actually. There's, as this page says, I just have a small screenshot here, but it says 373 topics from Thailand. And some of them are quite big, right? The red shirts. There's lots of things you can say about the red shirt movement in Thailand, if you wanted to do some research about that. Or the Thai-Myanmar Friendship Bridge, or a lot of ministries, government ministries are stub articles. They just have a couple of sentences, and students can do research about the ministry and can add to the Wikipedia article if that's what they're interested in. So there's lots of ways to get ideas for topics. We ask students to help them to choose. Like I said, their first idea is almost never the right one for them, and the teacher has to help them to go through these 3 or 4 topics. We ask them, what is the topic? Why did you choose it? Why is it important to you? Would other people be interested? And where will you find information? And then finally, what's a good model article in Wikipedia? So if a student wants to write about a historical person, then they should find another article about a historical person to help them learn how to write about historical people, right? If someone wants, like, for example, in the last class I taught, a student did a Wikipedia page on a temple in Bangkok that was a stub article. And so they used the Wikipedia page for Wat Arun as a model to teach them how to do. And as Richard said in the beginning, this is not about plagiarism or about copying, but it's about understanding the genre and understanding what the audience expects from a Wikipedia article about Thai temples, for example. Here's an example. One of the students, I believe this is the last time I taught the class last year, wanted to write about Doi Mae Salong, a mountain in northern Thailand. And so she used Kaohsiung National Park as a model page. And I think this is a great example because actually, I think the student in the end went above and beyond the model page. I think the student's page actually turned out to be a lot better than the original model page, the Kaohsiung National Park. Just as an example, this first paragraph is supposed to be a summary of the entire article. And so she did a really great job of talking about all the different things in the article. Whereas this Kaohsiung one, it just says it was established and it's the third largest park, but it doesn't say anything else about what is in the rest of the article. It doesn't say anything about tourist attractions, visitors, climate, geology, drainage, fauna, or all these other topics that are covered in the Wikipedia page. So I think in this case, and I think her sidebar looks a lot nicer than the sidebar for Kaohsiung also. She used a more modern version of the sidebar. And I thought it looked really nice. So in this case, she used this as the model, but she exceeded the model. She actually did a better job, in my opinion, of the model. So after the students have done the research and they've written their article, we do a few iterations. We spend a few weeks writing and rewriting and rewriting and rewriting, getting feedback from the teacher. We get feedback from their peers. We do a peer exercise where everybody will evaluate a different website, one of their fellow students' websites, and give feedback on what they can improve. And we also use computer feedback, Grammarly. Now, I saw Erica said in the chat she loves Grammarly. Yes, I do too. I think it's a really amazing website that even native speakers can use to help you to write clearly, to write concisely, to write correctly. As we've been talking about today, accuracy is not the main point of the languaging curriculum. We're not grading on accuracy. We're grading on intelligibility. But for the Wikipedia page, there is some expectation that there will be a certain amount of correct, proper academic English. And so a website like Grammarly could kind of help the students to polish, get that last step towards meeting the standards of the Wikipedia. They have great ideas, but sometimes they need just a little help with punctuation, with spelling, something like this. So Grammarly, definitely check this website out if you've never used it before. It's great for second language learners of English, but it's also very useful for native English speakers too, I think. Here's an example of this, of some of the results from one student. This is actually from the student who wrote the Burmese student who wrote about the Pegu Club that I showed earlier. And these were the things that Grammarly said that he should try to fix. And I think it's kind of interesting, actually, to see the kinds of things that might be useful for our students. There are very basic things like misspelled words. He forgot to put a space between these two words. But then if you notice that he actually has the same mistake over and over and over again. Something about his writing, he is missing the punctuation here with the clauses, I guess, especially which and. And so, as we said, we don't teach grammar specifically in these classes because we don't know what grammar each student will need to complete the task. So we can't teach a set of grammar to everybody. So this allows the student to say, wow, okay, I'm obviously I have a misconception somewhere about punctuation. And here's 5 great examples of how to do it correctly. And they can learn from this. Another thing we noticed, all the students, the first time we did it, all the students got these passive voice misuse errors. This is an interesting one because even though we teach passive voice in grammar classes, we usually tell students, I think that we tell them that we don't use passive very often. You know, English is a very action-oriented language. We like to have a subject doing something with a really strong verb. We always tell students, when you write, you need to use strong verbs. Don't use weak verbs, and you make sure we know who is doing what in the sentence. But all the students, when they put their Wikipedia page into Grammarly, Grammarly complained that they had too much passive voice. But then we realized that actually passive voice is a very important feature of encyclopedia pages. Encyclopedias always use a lot of passive voice. For example, this building that he was talking about, this building was built. We don't care if Bob or Steve or John built it. The person who built it is not the important thing, just the fact that the building was built at a certain time, or something was done, or something was mentioned, or something was known. So in this case, passive voice are a very important feature of the Wikipedia genre. And so we can share that idea with students, and they can be aware of the proper way to use passive voice in their writing. So again, we tried to build this course. These three courses are very kind of a radical way of teaching English in some ways, but we try to keep them on very solid pedagogical principles, where we're using authentic tasks with real world audiences. We're giving students the choice to do what they want to do, but providing a little bit of guidance to them. You know, we guide them. We're not teaching them, we're not telling them what to do, but we're guiding them along the journey. We use macro scaffolds, big picture things like process writing and genre analysis to help them complete the task. And they can use these skills whenever they write something in a genre they're not familiar with, or they can use this process writing in other classes when they're writing reports. But we also use a lot of micro scaffolds, you know, getting down into some of the details about the grammar, or about how to write clearly, or how to follow the Wikipedia genre. And my last slide here, that again, we showed a few quotes from other students. And in this class, they say, one student said, if I was writing for the teacher, I wouldn't try as hard. But knowing that I'm writing to the whole world helps me take it seriously. This time when I write, I'm thinking about the readers. I think about what I want when I search for Wikipedia, and then I write it that way. And otherwise, if I'm just writing for my teachers, I write what the teacher wants, not what real people in the real world want. Another student said that they were a little bit worried at first that their work would be public and everybody in the world could see it, but they overcame that, and they now see the advantages of sharing their knowledge with the whole world. So that's kind of a theme that went through a lot of the reflections that the students are making. You know, publishing to the whole world, thinking about the readers, putting yourself in the shoes of your audience, and making things public for the world. This gives students real motivation. Richard briefly mentioned mastery orientations in his talk, and this is a real mastery orientation where you're doing things because you want to do them. You do a good job only because you want to do a good job. You're not doing it for an A. You're not doing it to impress the teacher. You're doing it to share your knowledge. And for our students in Thailand, or our international students, we've had students from Burma, from Philippines, from Nepal, Cambodia, and it really this class gives them a chance to share their own cultures, their own country's history, the important figures from their country. And so these Southeast Asian countries are not always as widely represented on Wikipedia. So it helps them to fill that gap a little bit and to share and to be proud of where they come from and the knowledge that they have. So that's it for my talk. And thank you very much for your attention. Thank you everyone for sticking around for this long. I think the next thing that we will do is maybe we'll take a short break, another couple of minutes. Yes, Richard, and then we'll do a Q&A session.